Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Library of Ruina. Alrighty, we are gonna start this episode off right, because not only did I neglect to do something multiple episodes in a row, but also we have quite a few suggested mods that we're gonna play through. I don't know if we're gonna get through all of them in this episode, because some of them seem kind of long, but still. And I have also updated, one of our mods, which unfortunately means that some of our decks are a little bit weaker, but oh well, that's not why I used it anyway. You'll see in a moment. But for the thing that I have neglected to do for far too long, they didn't show up. Why? That's not supposed to happen. Or am I being a silly goose? They didn't show up. Dang it. Did I do something wrong again? Oh, okay, so the thing that I was supposed to do multiple episodes ago and just totally forgot is Pink. No. Army and Pink and Meat Lantern have their own ego pages. So therefore, I forgot to show them off. I was going to do that in this episode. So either Meat Lantern and Army and Pink don't have their own ego page, which I don't believe. You know what? Hang on. We could settle this right now. Watch this. Pink, unequipped. Ego page. It doesn't have one. Epic. Okay, then let's do this the other way. We'll do Pink. Good. Lantern. No. Dang it, man. Aha. Well, you know what? King and Binds work, so we're gonna show that one off. So, for the ego page of extracted ego binds, we have binds. Mass summonation. On use, gain 2 bandages of the King and Binds next scene. On hit, inflict 2 bandages of the King and Binds and 5 sinking next scene. And also, bandages of the King and Binds reduce all speed values by X, and at the end of the scene, gain X sinking, but lose 1 stack of bandages. Most excellent indeed. And Merkala. This is gonna take me a moment. Hang on. Yearning Merkala. It costs 7, and as soon as it allows me, only sub-targets all characters with bleed. Dice on this page are unaffected by power gain or loss. And gain 1 minimum and maximum value for every 25 bleed on the field, up to 3. Dice on this page deal +1 damage for every character with bleed. Haha, now it's scrolled, so I don't have to read fast. Combat start. All characters do not lose bleed stacks after rolling offensive dice for the scene. On hit, inflict 2 fragile, then 3 bleed, then recover 3 HP, and then deal bonus damage to targets with bleed. Should have done that a couple of episodes ago, but we got there in the end. Oh, goodness. Look, I'm a Ruina player. I'm bad at reading, okay? But I do apologize that it took me so long to actually read out what those ego pages do. I don't know what's going on with Army and Pink and Lantern. I don't know if they actually have ego pages or not, or actually, wait a minute. Hang on a minute. I think I know what's going on. I know what's going on. Hang on. Lantern. That's the wrong menu. I have almost 2,000 hours in this game. Lantern. Let's take a look, shall we? It still didn't show up. That's not what it was. Okay, so I don't know if they have ego pages or not, but regardless, we should have done that multiple episodes ago. Now, because I know you're curious what I meant when I said that we've updated a mod, observe. Shockwave is now different and also nerfed. On use, restore 3 light and draw 1 page. On hit, inflict 2 burn to each other. And then it has a 1 to 6 evade dice. So, the reason for that is because if we go to... what's his name? Ah, there he is, the Vermilion Cross. This is an updated version of the mod that we have been using all this time. Now, when I say updated, so far, I gotta be honest, it feels like nerfed, but what are you gonna do? The Vermilion Cross. Upon inflicting burn with a combat page, gain 1 stack of heat, up to a total of 7. Lose 1 stack at the end of the turn, and upon losing a clash against a defensive die. At the start of the act, draw 2 pages, and crossguard. Gain a counter block die 4 to 8 at combat start. So yeah, I figured it'd be a good idea to update, but as you see, IMO, more of a nerf than anything else, which is fine for Malchus Floor because we love burn here and inflicting ourselves with burn. But that does mean that we're actually gonna have to use different pages on different floors. Aren't you guys excited about that? However, Prospegnumi has been buffed. On use, restore 1 light. On hit, inflict 1 burn up to 3 times. Crux Simplex is the exact same. Draw 1 page, inflict 1 burn. Heated Weapon is now slightly buffed. On hit, inflict 2 burn up to twice. And Crossblade. Combat start. When inflicting burn using combat pages this scene, inflict 1 additional stack. And then 6 to 13 is pretty insane. On hit, inflict 3 burn and inflict 1 burn. Now, excuse me while I refix our decks, but time to go on to the requested mods. I was also told that apparently there's a general reception for Thorn's office, but I haven't been able to find that yet, so we'll just see where that goes. But for the moment, come in. You know what? She just had her coffee. Her voice is especially deep. Greetings, President Zenoa. One of our distinguished clients from Revma Industries has arrived. Is that how people refer to a major subcontractor these days? But that's the truth. The primary source of Revma manufactured weapons is W Corp. Oh... Anyways, enough chit-chat. I've come to ensure the details of this contract are in order. First, Revma Industries shall regularly supply weapons specified by W Corp. Secondly, as compensation, W Corp provides Revma Industries with a monthly payment on a regular basis. Thirdly, W Corp shall ensure that any patents generated under the foregoing terms remain strictly confidential. That had been so. Correct! But the contract has been rewritten, so please read it. Most of it remains the same. May I ask a question? What is it? There appears to be some additions to the weapon manufacturing specifications. I see you've integrated a self-destruct or incapacitation function with the employee ID. Is there any reason to that? It's nothing serious. It's just that a few executives lately haven't been able to fully trust the confidentiality agreements of the fixers. Yes, I understand. I have signed the contract. Understood. Please commence delivery of equipment meeting these specifications from next month onward.
Okay, have a nice day. Oh, and regarding the specifications, I have one more question. Rumor has it that an executive of U-Corp vanished while on the UW warp train. Even the W-Corp agents who were investigating the truth have gone missing. As for the standard just mentioned, I have reasonable doubts.
And here you are, making reasonable suspicions based on mere rumors. That aside, as a W Corp executive, I never thought Miss Zenoa would take such gossip seriously.
I just made up a plausible story with the information I had. I hope you'll examine it thoroughly. DeWalt?
Give me a second.
Yes, President. Did you call?
Please call Stanford to the conference room.
Very well.
Is everyone here?
Yes, President.
Why have you called me all of a sudden? Do you know about the rumors circulating around W Corp these days?
If you're talking about the UW-212 warp train, then, of course, they say that not only have all the passengers disappeared, but, oh, let's see here, let me flip through my pages. The first-class passengers have also gone missing.
The director of U-Corp was there and went missing along with everyone else. DeWalt, when do you think a patent war will break out?
If it's a patent war, it looks like it's gonna break out soon.
With the patent war between the wings drawing to a close, what kind of repercussions will the disappearance of the U-Corp director have? On the surface, the UW-212 train is a joint venture between W-Corp and U-Corp, but in reality, it's managed entirely by W-Corp. And in such a place, an executive of a competitor company went missing. At least, it won't look good from U-Corp's perspective.
That's right. U-Corp will be suspicious of W-Corp. Whoa! Boy, that's probably the most unfitting voice that I've done in this episode so far.
When I visited U-Corp to sign a contract, the distrust of W-Corp was apparent. In that case, there is a high possibility that W-Corp and U-Corp will clash in this patent war.
How will our Revma Industries president act?
Oh, don't worry. The president has always been good at dealing with these kinds of situations, so I'm sure things will slide by just fine this time, too.
No, this time we're moving. W-Corp has laid bare far too many of its flaws. Should we overthrow them, there's nothing stopping Revma from taking a wing's seat.
What do you mean by overthrow?
W-Corp's secrets, their singularities, every hidden truth. I will reveal them all. If that happens, W-Corp will be in danger.
But even if W-Corp loses its position in the wings, there's, no guarantee that we'll become a part of it, right?
There is a way to guarantee it. What do you think about the technology W-Corp is using right now?
Tearing up space and shoving a train into it?
I understand that space-cutting technology is a singularity. By leveraging that singularity, they've advanced their technology in both transport and armaments.
No, it's not quite that. The singularity of W-Corp doesn't just allow them to rip space apart.
Huh? Then the technology they gave us...
It's probably the technology of a wing that fell long ago. But would W Corp be crazy enough to hand over a singularity to a mere subcontractor?
Surely.
Once we take down W Corp, we become the rightful owners of that technology. Space cutting technology is also fairly high level, patented technology, so we will use it to grow the company and create a singularity.
Wait. Stanford's her. Okay, I don't know why the text flashed.
And then claim the empty seat of a wing.
Whoa! But how are you gonna expose W Corp's corruption? Maybe send in a spy?
No, I'm going to use this.
It's an invitation to the library?
Yes, they said it was something that was held by the executives of U Corp. The books being offered are those of W Corp cleaners, the dolls, and the staff of the Kane office. The dolls are likely U Corp executives that have been altered in some way. The Kane office is a direct office of T Corp. In this single small sheet of paper, no less than 3 wings are intertwined.
I understand W Corp and U Corp, but, how can T Corp be related too?
Why is T Corp involved in this?
Well, I'm not sure, but if this invitation isn't lying, even with W Corp brought down, we can hold a solid footing against you and T Corps.
But, if we fail, won't we all die?
That's right. That's why we have to be fully prepared. Stanford, whether it's a direct fixer, a researcher, or a test operative, any of them will suffice.
Okay. I understand.
DeWalt, maximize the output of the prototype. Even if it's less stable than the weapons supplied to W Corp, instantaneous firepower must be high if we hope to have a chance.
Okay, President.
The patent war's coming, it seems. Now even average companies are eyeing a wing's place.
Jeez, once a wing falls, everyone will be desperate to seize its place.
How do the companies interact with each other?
Well, in reality, few companies actually topple a wing, so most of the time they just get along.
L Corp. Who will claim the seat left by Lobotomy Corporation?
Well, I'm not sure about that. Really, who would have guessed that an energy powerhouse could crumble overnight? That's really crazy. It's almost like something really bad happened or something. Yeah, that's why everyone's busy scrambling to take over that nest, which, BT dubs, we just happen to be in the center of.
I see.
Stanford, why are you way over there? Get closer. A library. So this place really is a library. Man, Stanford is just shaking in his boots to be here.
Well, the library is just the library, isn't it?
No, I mean, you know, it could be a metaphor, right?
Please refrain from making pointless jokes, Stanford.
Stop. Someone is coming.
Welcome to the library, dear guest. I am Angela, the director and librarian of my roles. Namesake.
We're over 100 episodes in and it never gets old. By the way, Zenoa and Angela sound a little bit too similar, so I'm sorry if their voices kind of start to blur together.
Greetings, Miss Angela. I'm Zenoa, the CEO of Revma Industries. The books listed on the invitation, They'll be given to us, right?
Indeed, should you succeed in the library's trials, you'll be able to leave with the books from the invitation.
Very well. DeWalt, Stanford, let's get started.
Yes, President!
Right.
May you find your book in this place.
And so it begins. Ooh, I actually really like your guys' outfit. And, BT dubs, you guys are gonna be absolutely destroyed. Revma Industries. Normal to absolutely everything except for Stagger Slash. Speed dice slot +1. Oh, you guys are so dead. Revma battery pack can store up to 15 charges at once. Ooh. Self-empowerment. If you spend 10 or more charge this scene, gain 1 extra charge from all combat pages next scene. Whoa. You know who that would be crazy on? Mao. Either way, charging mode. Recover HP equal to the amount of charge gained in the previous scene, up to 10. Ooh. Energy saving mode. Recover stagger resist equal to the amount of charge spent in the previous scene, up to 10. Oh, this is gonna be beautiful for Mao. Oh my goodness. Double starting work. On use, restore 1 light. On hit, gain 4 charge. Stable voltage. On use, gain 4 charge. If charge is 5 or higher, draw 1 page. Double current generation. Gain 4 charge this scene and next scene. Double electrifying blow. On use, restore 2 light and gain 6 charge. On hit, spend 3 charge to deal 8 stagger damage. Wow, that's actually pretty crazy. And rapid discharge. Only usable when charge is 10 or higher. On use, spend 10 charge. Yeah, you guys are dead. You wanna see what utter devastation looks like?
Then watch closely.
Also, I just noticed they have chainsaws for weapons. That is sweet. Just giga-powered chainsaws. Unfortunately, not nearly as powerful, as our blades. Multi-slash coming down from Marcos Jr., allowing all of us to get quite a bit of healing. Azazel does take a bit of a meaty blow, but that's fine. We restore light because we want to be empowered. Unsettling desire. Coming down from Yukari, that way we're able to draw as much as physically possible. Marcos Jr., healing the entire team. Do we do it? Do we do it to him? Nah, we'll just go for a regular combo. We'll be boring. I was debating going for a, for Apocalypse Bird, but I think that's overkill. Also, Oblivion. You are inflicted with a random status effect, and that is from Azazel. Well, theoretically, Sync would probably just end this fight. Well, no, they do have quite a bit of health, actually. They might be fine. Meh, that's boring. We don't want to end it that fast. I'm going to go for Fairy and Lock. Then let's see. So, just as a reminder, when light is restored, the page will be illuminated. Okay, that's what I thought. So we just need as much light as physically possible. So in that case, why don't we use Book of Light to get some light? And then we can go for Illuminate all page. Oh. Okay, on second thought, we're gonna go for When the Silver Bell Rings. And that's gonna be a free lamplight. Then, let's go ahead and go for Instinct Release. It'll probably win. We're nice and powerful. We also go for Binding Chains to reduce the amount of damage that we are about to take. Sombor, you're going to become vastly empowered. And then we are going to go for a Freezing. That way you're able to get some of that light back. I'm going to go for a Double Blood of Mercy. And then we're just going to take a bunch of one-sided attacks, but that's fine. Now, they're not quite as much of pushovers as I thought they were going to be, I'm going to be honest. But that does not prevent us from absolutely curb stomping them. Sombor is empowered for the next 2 scenes, and we get a bit of our light back, and because we won some of our clashes, we also gain minimum and maximum power. Azazel doing a spinny lamplight trick to illuminate what we need. We didn't win that clash, are you serious? Okay, we do get the double block though, which means we do have plenty of light to be used. Blood. Output overloaded. I can't stand it. Eternally limp. I don't think you want to use a limp lamp, but eternally lit lamp would have made a lot of sense on Azazel. However, I think we're going to go for small flutters, and we're going to use that on... Nobody really has evade dice, if I'm honest, so we'll use it on Marcos Jr. Okay, they all recover a little bit of health. Did any of our pages become fully illuminated? No. But we are at 3 out of 5 and 2 out of 5. And then this one is at 4 out of 6. So, hear me out. Let's use Darkness of the Eternal Night. Then... one of them gives shield, one gives stagger shield, and the other one does something, but it doesn't say. So we'll just pick the first one and hope that's the right one. It restores light, that's good enough for me. Then, we're gonna go for another suspicious contract. That way, we are able to get as much light as possible. I'm going to go for Blessing against a page that does not have... Okay, you're all using Rapid Discharge. That's problematic. That really just sucks. Okay. Yeah, this is about to get tricky. Okay, let's change our order. Let's go for In the Name of Justice, then we go for Dark Side of the Moon. I'm gonna go for a Shockwave to potentially sneak out a little bit of a stagger. Then we're gonna take that attack right here. Overwhelming Momentum will not be very useful for us, so what we're going to do instead is we are going to draw while also taking away a little bit of that negativity. Then we go for Kai and Gerda. Honestly, we'll win the clash regardless of what we do, and then I am going to go for a Pack Onslaught to round us out. Shockwave. Doesn't matter how many people it hits, what matters is it protects us. And oh boy, will it. Okay, really good value. 2 of them are staggered. Fairy going down just for a bit more damage. Dark Side of the Moon gets us a stagger as well as a heal. Frostbite makes it so that we draw. A little bit of healing going down from Marcos Jr. And that protection, making sure that we take barely any damage. Darkness of the Eternal Night, getting quite a bit of damage as well, and we get a kill as well as recovering a fair bit of health on Yukari. Dark was the night. Broken. Why do we have broken pages? I don't understand why we have broken pages. Well, that's fine. Death. Works for me. Now it's time for the real fight to begin. Zenoa, 211 health and 65 stagger resist. Normal, endured, normal. Leadership. At the start of the act, set the emotion level of all allies to 2 and give them 5 charge. Oh boy. Speed 3, that's more like it. Overcharge. If you gained 10 or more charge this scene, all dice gain +1 power next scene. Oh. Revma semi-permanent institution. can store an unlimited amount of charge, deal additional damage and stagger damage by charge stored times 3%. On damage taken, have a chance of becoming staggered equal to charge stored. Wow, that is risk reward and a half. That is actually crazy. Emergency resuscitation. If the character has 20 or more charge and is staggered, spend all charge to cancel the staggered state, then recover stagger resist by the amount of charge spent. Whoa. That is a really fun interaction. That is so fun. I can't wait to use that. Dude, that in Survivor? Actually insane value. And charge circulation mode. Recover HP equal to the amount of charge gained in the previous... Oh, I see. So it's both passives just squished into one. Okay. Double starting work, double stable voltage. Current collection, we saw that. Electrifying blow, we saw that one. Rapid discharge. Now for her unique ones. Quick charge. On combat start, at the start of the scene, the amount of charge gained from combat pages this scene is doubled. And abnormal current. Mass individual. Recycle the effect of the last die for half the number of charge you have. And also spend all charge on use. Oh boy. On hit, deal 2 damage to the target. That's gonna hurt. Stanford. 175 health, 84 stagger resist. Normal to everything, but endured to both types of blunt. Revma capacitor can store up to 20 charges at once. Battery manufacturing process. Oh, it's trigrams, but for charge. Okay, cool. Concentrated energy, gain 1 additional charge whenever an ally gains charge from a combat page. Whoa. Charging mode. Yep. Self-empowerment. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Triple starting work, double stable voltage, double current generation, electrifying blow, and for his unique page, energy network. On combat start, spend 5 charge to give 1 strength and endurance to 2 random allies. Fair enough. DeWalt. 178 health, 84 stagger resist, endured to both types of slash and normal to everything else. Over voltage, gain a special page that benefit the user when they're used. Okay. So trigram question mark? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Charging mode, energy saving mode, and self-empowerment looks about the same. All pages are stuff we've seen, and discharge. Spend 10 charge to boost power of all dice on this page by plus 10. Well, shall we begin? Sync. What an opener indeed. Gunshots piercing through the snow. Ferry going down the dark side of the moon. I know that was out of tune. That was the point. Either way, Frostbite for a bit of draw. Blood of mercy. Unfortunately, not getting quite as much value as I would have liked. However, Marcos Jr. quickly picking up the pace as we get a colossal amount of damage, and Yukari stays at about the same amount of health. Ow. God dang, that was actually a lot of stagger damage. Flames devouring the night. Okay, freezing. That allows us to freeze a little bit of our light. I am going to go for tilted scale, and I'm going to do that on Yukari. Would it be too cheating to go lamp? I'll go Twilight. I'll go Twilight. Let's give him a chance. Now, are you... Oh. Hang on. I'm coming in there. I'm coming in there. Now, do you look like that because we have the other half of your passive? Hang on. There's a passive... Okay, I guess it doesn't show it to us right now. But basically, he has like 2 ways of being played, as far as I know. And I think that we have the negative version of being played, while the other half is effectively White Knight Jr., I think. Let's see. I'm gonna look at your stuff. Replace a dice on this page. Start the lost path of no return. Ooh. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I don't really know what that did. October 11th. Oh. I see. Then yeah, let's just, why not? November 30th. December 4th. December 5th. December 23rd. Dang, we skipped my birthday. On use, inflict 7 oblivion to all enemies and add calamitous prognostication to hand. Oh, and you don't have any dice power anymore. Oh my god, you have 11 strength, but nothing to use it on. That, I am so sad. Well, time to go for the graded seal. Prepare yourself. Burn. Well, I did tell you that they were going to die, didn't I? Pack on slot, that way everybody gets to draw. Ow. Ow. Okay, we're fine. Everything is a-okay. You were supposed to be staggered, so unfortunately, Marcos Jr. got 0 value. Clash of Blades. Let's get that bad boy stacking up. Instinct Release does not help us. Ooh, quite a bit of damage from Mr. Sombor. Ow. Instinct Release, we do get a little bit of healing, so everyone is feeling right as rain. Okay, we did get some of our stuff back, and also broken remaining lines. Interesting. I don't know how to play this side of this. But you know what I do know how to do? Oh my, return to the lost path of that day. Well, let's use the Night of Profound Silence. Why not? That sounds fun. Okay, we're actually running pretty low on resources here, which part of that is just because I'm experimenting, but still. Death. Okay, counter dice, not doing anything to us. Pillar. Ooh, wow, you actually blocked one of our attacks with Pillar. Good stuff. Multi-slash coming down for a little bit of healing and a lot of resource generation. The Night of Profound Silence. Ooh, really cool animation. Okay, we do get a bunch of strength, a little bit more healing going down. Frost Sword! Not quite taking out Zenoa, but we do take a decent amount of damage on Marcos Jr. However, we have so much healing and such a huge, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Head start? Advantage. That's the one. We have an advantage over them. Let's go for Salvation and Justitia, shall we? After all, I think this fight is just about over. Don't you? You know what? This fight is over. And then we'll go for lock, because it's funny. Oh my god, bro, what is that ability? Well, either way, you are judged guilty. Revma Industries, even though we completely curb stomped it, I gotta tell you, has some of the most unique charge mechanics I think I've seen in a while. And I am extremely excited to add it to our arsenal. I once had grand dreams, like becoming one of the wings or something, but in the end, this is how things turn out.
Are all companies that aim to become a wing really like this?
Yeah, they all start things without knowing their limits and ultimately fail. It's simple. Just consider for a moment why a wing holds its place. Well, the results speak for themselves.
But do any companies actually become a wing? If all of them collapse like this, I wonder if any company will ever actually become a wing.
Originally all wings were nothing more than small companies. Much like fixers, grade 9 fixers are practically everywhere out there. Ordinary companies are everywhere on the streets, yet only a tiny fraction of them ever rise to a wing's position. That's why, in any case, going up against a wing isn't really a good idea. We're already mixed up with 3 wings, though.
Yeah, I'm very excited to make use of of these new charge identities. Debatably, I feel they make the most sense on Yesod's floor. See, okay, here's the only thing about that, though, right? What the heck would we change out? Like, not Ayan as Bremen just makes so much sense because the amalgamation of knowledge and performance. But then it's like, Yesod with Noah makes a lot of sense because he would be analyzing the battle the entire time. Mao already has a charge deck, which, to be fair, could work out quite nicely for us. And then Ingvar is using Leonardo's page, which, while I don't... Well, you know what? As long as Ingvar is using his sister's sword, I think it should be fine. Either way, Yesod just got a massive bonus. And we appear to have found the general reception we were in search of. So, the Book of the Rust Chain Gang. Speed 1, Thorn Armament, Spikes. The damage increase from the Thorn's effect is changed to equal your Thorn stack. But when gaining Thorns, you also gain half that amount in bleed stacks. Oh boy. Oh boy. Twist Wound, Up and Wound, and Digging Shank. Pretty standard from the base game. Double Chain Repair. On use, grant user 3 stacks of Thorns and restore 1 light. You also inflict 1 bleed next scene. Double Take This. On use, grant user 4 stacks of Thorns and draw 1 page. Chain Readout. Combat start, if user has 3 or more stacks of Thorns, grant the user 3 stacks of Protection. On clash loss, apply bleeding to the target equal to the user's Thorn stack. Ugh. Then do it again, and then an evade die. Wield the Chain. On use, if user has 2 or more stacks of bleeding, increase the power of all dice on this page by +1. On hit, grant the user 1 stack of Thorns. Double Destructive Attack. On use, grants the user 3 stacks of Thorns. On hit, inflict 2 bleed next scene, and inflict 1 bleed next scene. And no time to hesitate. On use, grant the user 5 stacks of Thorns. If user has 3 or more stacks of bleeding, increase the power of all dice on this page by +2. And on hit, inflict 2 bleed next scene. And then Toki! Normal, endured, normal. Speed 3, Thorn Armament, Spikes, Frontline Defense. When hit, if you have Thorns, apply 1 stack of bleed to the target. Ugh. Pointed Retort. Bleed damage taken is halved. For every 3 stacks of bleed, all dice gain +1 power. You know, this'll be really good on Crimson. This'll be really good on her. And then Twist Wound, Rupture Wound, and Digging Shank, all from the base game.
Double chain repair, double take this, chain readout, wield the chain destructive attack, no time to hesitate, and life or death. On use, grants a user 6 stacks of thorns. If user has 5 or more stacks of bleeding, increase the power of all dice on this page by +3. On hit, inflict 2 bleed next scene, and on hit, inflict 2 bleed next scene again.
Did that Kakan guy die here?
Why, yes, he did. And in fact, his passive is being used for this very floor. Well then, shall we begin? By the way, I did update quite a few of our builds. I think we'll be showing off all the brand new builds in the next episode though, because I'm kind of getting the feeling that this episode is going to be quite long, so showing off every floor's new builds is probably going to take me a minute. But regardless,
Thorns versus thorns.
That was used on its own. I did not intend to counter that page. Now, interestingly, we have thorns and so do they. So if they hit us, they take damage. If we hit them, they take damage. So we're just reflecting damage all over the place. I'm gonna go with Coveting Thorns. Reason for it, they're applying bleed to themselves. May as well get some use out of it. We are going to add Field of Thorns to hand. I'm feeling pretty good about our odds. We do have more than 10 stacks of thorns, so we should win clashes, no problem. Entry Forbidden will stop the ones that matter. We can go for Let's Begin just for a bit more value. Then I'm going to go for Shatter the Precipice. Why not? Just do absolute giga damage. Then we'll go for Unlock. We do still take a tiny bit of damage, but it also progresses our Blade Unlock, so meh. Ow. And because we do have a little bit of Thorns, we're still doing damage, despite the fact that we are just taking hits. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Damage reflection and bleed, and we're doing so much damage just from them hitting us. Oh, absolutely befitting of a place like this. Yeah, thorns versus thorns. Who would have guessed? The ones with more thorns win. Yeah, I also 2000% just forgot to burn the Book of Midme, so yippee! We now have Midme! But it's time for the next reception, which is simply known as Gone Dreams. So let's see what we got. Normal to absolutely everything, 750 health, 375 stagger resist. So I no longer seek to seek. Untransferable, gain 3, no more instant pages. Only one of them can be played per scene. When playing one, the corresponding resistances of this character become endured during the combat stage. After all 3 have been utilized, gain 1 Forsaken Fantasy, and they can be used again. No more whispered prayers. Untransferable. Gain 1 Forsaken Fantasy and inflict Dream to a random enemy at the start of the act. When another character dies, gain 1 Forsaken Fantasy at the start of the next scene. No more dreaming of the future. Untransferable. At the start of each scene, give Obsolete Hope to 2 random pages in hand for this scene. On use, Shatter Target, which I'm assuming means stagger. When the last dice on this page hit the target, trigger Shatter. If all marked pages are used, restore 1 light and draw 1 page at the end of the scene, and it also gives you access to unique ego. Dreams also return. That's a fancy way of saying shimmering, but also inflict debuff to all librarians to number of librarians who has Dream or Shattered Dream. Let's see. Depending on the stack, at 1, all dice reduce power by 5 minus number of librarians alive. Okay. 2, you take 50% more stagger damage. 3, at the end of each scene, trigger sinking. Ugh. It's more sinking. Dude, we can't get away from sinking pages recently. What has been going on? Everyone is like, you know what effect nobody else has used? It's called sinking. Oh boy. Okay. Trigger sinking effect. They have but won't reduce stack of sinking. And when HP drops to 2, ... Unstoppable and constantly submerged. Inflict 2 sinking to all librarians at the start of the scene. At the end of the scene, trigger shatter to all librarians. If librarian has Shatter Dream, trigger sinking effect this librarian has, but won't reduce stack of sinking. Now here's a question. What type of sinking are we up against? Because that is important. Factory Dream. Spawn 4 rifts at the start of the act. If there is no a rift alive, gain an effect. When the unit who has Dream or Shadow Dream hitting self 3 times, transfer Dream, Shadow Dream to self. So, when we hit you 3 times, we're no longer debuffed and you become debuffed? But I imagine that debuff doesn't do anything on you. And priority select a random a rift as target at even number scene. If there is no a rift alive, priority select a random librarian who has Dream or Shadow Dream as a target. When a librarian dying, revive it as Wild Hunt at next scene. Wild Hunt is guest, not librarian. Okay. So you're going for a bit of a Wild Hunt Heathcliff thing with sinking and Wild Hunt? Close your eyes. On use, restore 1 light. On hit, if target has Dream or Shadow Dream, draw 1 page. Empty your mind. On use, restore 2 light. If target has Dream or Shadow Dream, draw 1 page. Wait. On use, not on hit. Nightfall. Hits an additional target for every 2 Forsaken Fantasy. If user has fantasies punctured, hits an additional target as well. On hit, inflict 1 Dream. To tread a forlorn path. On use, draw 1 page for every 4 Forsaken Fantasy the user has. When triggering Shatter by this page, trigger once again. Okay. To walk a Forsaken Road. On use, if target has Shattered Dream, all dice on this page gain power by 2. If this page triggering Shatter 2 times to the target, restore 1 light. On Clash Win, last dice on this page will shatter target once additional, and on hit, shatter target. Now shatter, because this one actually tells us what it does, when triggering, trigger effect according to another effect. Dream, the unit who be shatter gains 1 to 2 sinking, and Shattered Dream, the unit who be shatter, gain 2 to 3 sinking instead. Okay. So it doesn't stagger us, it just gives us a whole lot of sinking.
Come on, one last breath.
Also, is that the Moonlight Greatsword you're using? Because it looks like the Moonlight Greatsword. Forsaken Fantasy. At start of each scene, gain strength, endurance, and damage up equal to half of this FX. Hope's Crushed. Changes blunt damage resistance to endured. All offensive dice become blunt, and a random page in hand gains obsolete hope. Alrighty, shall we begin? We are going to attempt to take out 1 rift per turn. We'll see how that goes, but that's the idea. Okay, absolutely colossal damage going down. We're now going to attempt to win all of our clashes. We do get a crit in there, which is very good. Oh, I should have seen what the sinking effect does, but that's fine. We can always check next turn. Crossblade makes it so that everyone is going to get buffed. Oh, you are Wild Hunt Heathcliff. Okay. I mean, summoning the guys is pretty much tell-all. Now, sinking. On hit, if not staggered, gain 4 stagger damage and subtract 1/2 of the sinking stack. If staggered, then gain 4 damage. So it works to about normal sinking. Okay, so you're going all in. Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna let you kill that? Or should we not be killing it? Little confused about that. So what I'm gonna do then is I'm just gonna let you go ahead and whack on your own thing. And in response, I'm just going to do absolute damage to you instead. Let's see. You are fragile at the moment because of our passives. So I'm just gonna do as much damage as physically possible. We do have quite a bit of charge, so I'm gonna go ahead and spend charge. That way, everyone gets a tiny bit more damage. We'll go for some information gathering, and then we don't have any more charge, so I'm going to go for overclocking into a Stargaze. Then, let's go ahead and get unlock rolling, and then dimensional banishment should be relatively good. I don't think we have any shards at the moment, though. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and go for a one-sided attack instead. Okay. So he does Giga damage to his rifts. We don't manage to get through a single one of those evasion dice. That's fine. Multi-slash giving us all the resources we could ever want. We get quite a bit of damage, which also allows us to get a little bit of crit and poise, which is going to help us out. Okay, double Stargaze, just so we get a whole lot of status effects. Metallic Ring is not a bad choice, but I think I'm going to go for Lament, which does give us strength. Also, I notice he's holding his sword differently every turn. Okay, so Nightfall is gonna basically hit all of us. Right, okay. Then without anything left to do, let us take this fight to another level. Okay, very good clash results. We like that. Canine's Growl. Working nicely. Dimensional Banishment. There's some censored in there, I noticed. The Chorus, buffing everybody up, and Multi-Slash getting some excellent crit hits. Donkey's Bray attempting to give us quite a bit of endurance. Unfortunately, we do not win a lot of those clashes. Energy Matrix, that way we draw and reduced their costs. Okay, we do take a little bit of damage. Stagger damage is kind of getting out of hand. Rhythm is a terrible idea. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? Alright, Nadain, you're gonna get hyper buffed. Why not? Okay, so he's going for his rifts again, and he's also going for us. So let's get some protection. And then... oh, we don't have enough for that. You know what? Then we'll just go for an unlock, and we'll also go for a Rooster's Crow. Brisk confrontation seems like a good idea at this point, but you do have the mark, so I'm just gonna go for absolute giga crits. Then we are gonna go for a defense to offense. Let's go ahead and give everybody a little bit of charge. We can't do an AoE, but that is a-okay. Chorus will buff everybody up basically for free. Then we go for a forked bolt, where we then split. We overclock. Split again. And can we do it one more time? Nah, okay. Well, that's fine. That's still quite a bit of value for basically nothing. We also don't have 20 plus charge, so we're not going to be able to use that. That is fine. We do have enough for Rip Space to get its absolute value. Dimensional Shard, we do have 2 of them. So here we go. Forked Bolt. Working out quite nicely, and Rip Space deals 24 damage. We are also able to buff everybody up with the Chorus. And because of all these crit attacks, he is very quickly drawing to that health threshold, where no doubt he is about to get a whole lot stronger. Yep, here we go. No doubt a phase 2. Did everyone just die? No, it was his portals. Okay. I'm gonna go for regret. Oh, all of our emotion levels are set to 5. I don't know how reassuring that is, if I'm honest. Musical addiction, I think we're gonna do that on Mal. And then we'll go for Solemn Lament. I mean, Dark Flame would probably not be the right choice, right? Nah, it's always the right choice. And we will go for Harmony. Alright, he has a 200 HP shield, and he's back to 200 HP. Okay. Return. Gain shield equal to stack of Forsaken Vanity times 50 at the start of the scene. If stack of Forsaken Fantasy is 1 or more, HP cannot be lowered past 1. If HP is 1, at the end of the scene, spend 1 Forsaken Vanity to fully recover HP and stagger resist. At this scene, if self being hit 10 or more times, spend 1 Forsaken Fantasy additional. Unstoppable and constantly submerged, we already know what that does. Reincarnation and Perpetuity. When using pages, if target of current page is the same as the previous target, all dice of self gain power by 1 permanent at this act. Huh? That sounds like cheating.
So the whole deal is we just have to hit you a lot, huh? Well, let me tell you, I got a little something for that. It's called Gravity Overreach.
That was 100 stagger damage. But you know what it's followed by? A little something called
Solemn Lament.
Okay, we are absolutely laying into him.
Regret.
Our goal is to stagger him so he's not able to do anything. However, he appears to have one-shot Icebox. Unfortunately for you,
You are against the chorus.
yeah, so he's definitely going to go directly back to max health and stagger resist, but you know what? We've made our point. And he does still have 2 of Forsaken Fantasy, so we still have to get through quite a bit. Also, Icebox has been revived. Kind of forgot about that. So you kind of just get to kill someone every turn? Also, Icebox is not going to be as useful to you as you might think. And description not found for Wild Hunt, but it revives people. That's what it does. Alright, we're kind of running out of resources here, but let's see what can be done. Information gathering, dealing quite a bit of value. Also, he did get a fair bit of a shield back. Definitely should have paid a little bit more attention to that. Multi-slash, honestly, coming dead even is totally fine considering it's multi-slash. Harmony. Putting him directly back to 1 health. Oh, yeah. Harmony is, pretty good. Donkey's Bray, not only getting a little bit of crits, but also increasing our endurance. It does prevent us from getting staggered on Ingvar. Mr. Wild Hunt Man died. And it looks like this is your final hurrah. 400 more health to go through. But we're all low on resources, so I'm a little bit worried about how this one is going to go.
Do you feel it? The end draws near. End of the line for you.
You ran?
Coward!
Yeah, okay, so that Yesod floor buff, absolutely amazing addition. Oh, yeah. So, okay, just as a quick run through, right? Ingvar is using Zenoa. Mao is still using Philia, just because it's good. And Icebox is using Brennan. It's not much of a charge floor, but let me tell you, oh my goodness. If that isn't synergy, I don't know what is. Absolutely destroyed him. Now, okay, part of that... Wait. Part of that was just using musical addiction with the with the fact that Dark Flame was in effect, right? Like, we can't forget that we did have Dark Flame going that entire time. But that doesn't change the fact with Dark Flame, musical addiction, and the use of Harmony, which can re-roll multiple times, that's pretty good. That's pretty good value. Oh, that was great. That was, I think one of the best showings that Yesod's floor has had in a while. Not that it's one of our weaker floors, but that was like one of the best situations that it's had. And that's even with Icebox getting one shot. Now, oddly enough, it doesn't actually say that we beat this reception. So I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I guess technically we didn't beat him because he ran away, huh? Yeah, alright, that makes sense. Alright, apparently I was mistaken. So, alright. Since this episode is getting a little bit long as it stands right now, what I'll do is, instead of making you wait to see what we changed with our character floors, I am gonna show you right now. Now, to be fair, oh man, it gets worse. Every day that I'm alive, English gets harder, I swear. Ahem. To be fair, we didn't change every single floor, but we did change a couple. So, starting with Malka's floor. Her passives have not changed at all. She is still using Shockwave because we don't mind if we inflict burn to ourselves. Gilana, since she is using Ariane's page, who kinda wants to be on fire, double Shockwave is still seemingly the way to go. As for how we completely avoid nuking ourselves, I don't know. That part, I couldn't tell you. We'll work on that. Gregory Dallas has gotten the biggest page change of the floor. He now has a bunch of discard synergy with Burning Flash, Brace Up. And for our passives, we have Hugging Fire sitting on Brushwood, Bottom Deal, Stacking the Deal, and Nuovo Fabric. I would have put more, but we literally don't have the room. Debatably, the +1 more fire with all of our burn effects would probably be better than Nuovo Fabric, but a little tankiness never hurt anybody. Kyle, his page hasn't changed. Double Brace Up, Double Shockwave. Overall, I still think it's really, really good, preventing a bit of burn damage until we get to the final stage of Zwow's Ego. Is probably still going to be for the best, because once you hit max ego on Zhao, you no longer take burn damage, which is pretty good. And then Dave has gotten absolutely no change. I do need to swap out Shockwave, though, because Dave doesn't really want burn on himself. He can offset it relatively easily with Mind and Health Hauler, but I would still kind of prefer not to have it. Then, for Yes Side! Overall, exact same pages, but the passives are very different. Information processing, because if anyone's gonna know about the enemies, it's gonna be Yes Side. Information monopoly for basically even more damage. Combined with his chance to crit, and the fact that he basically has every damage type, Yesod is pretty freaking solid. He's just really, really good. Not Ayan hasn't had any changes, basically still just a supporty Bremen deck. Ingvar is using Zenoa's page with Stargaze, double static electricity, energy conversion, double current generation, electrifying blow, quick charge, and abnormal current. Here's the issue with Ingvar. I think we need more draw. In that single fight that we were using Ingvar, there wasn't nearly enough draw, so we're definitely going to need to fix that up. But for passives, Will of Vengeance. That way we deal more damage the lower health we are. Fusion Drive. We spend a bit of charge to restore light, and if we're not full light, there's a chance we spend even more to get even more light. So light is like a complete non-issue on Sombor. And then Survivor, because of the passive where we store an unlimited number of charge, but we get staggered. And if we get staggered, we spend charge to immediately recover. Survivor just seems like a very, very good choice. Mao is still using Phileas Page, as I mentioned. But we have Pulsed Electromagnetic Field Therapy, because for every charge spent, we recover health. Charging Mode and Energy Saving Mode, because for the exact same reason, it just amps up the amount of regen that we get. And Auto Tracing Optical Implants, because more fragile is always nice. And then Icebox, who is effectively the rounding unit, because what he does is he gives charge to everyone and he spends a whole lot himself. And because we have the power to reduce opponent's power by 1 while in a clash, lock potential seems like an extra bit to that. Immediate repairs, that way we don't get staggered quite as much. And current generation, because 2 strength and 2 endurance to a random ally is just very, very strong. Now, for Hod's floor, Sheeta has gotten a complete redo and is now using Urael's page with triple Let's Begin, double Energy Forbidden, double Maintain the Line, and double Sadist. With the passives still being Justice, because Sheeta has to ensure everyone's safety, and Eerie Spikes, because more thorns means more reflection damage, which is always nice. Sarah and Crimson are unchanged, although Crimson is going to use some of the Rusty Chain Gang stuff because, oh yeah, that seems real good. And Caius is using the Book of Trust. Although, to be fair, he might use Mid-Me, haven't decided. Either way, double Let's Begin, double Need More. Enhanced Thorns, double Entry Forbidden, and double Getting High. With the passives being Expert, Thorn, Gauntlets, and Crossguard for a little bit of survivability in the form of a counter block die. And then I did swap back most of Netzak's floor back to the paralysis stuff. Netzak is now using Lisol's page, Kura is using Electra's page, and Facey Randy is still using Liu Ye, although we do need to change some of the pages around just a bit. I liked the idea of an all-syncing floor on Netzak's page, but it was honestly a little disappointing just because every single different syncing didn't interact with each other. So while it is funny to see like 6 different types of syncing on enemies, the fact that they literally don't synergize at all is kind of eh. But either way, I think Liu Ye is going to be a pretty useful page to have. A little bit of bind. We're able to do a tiny bit of syncing. It should be good. And then the only other page that I think I changed, give me a moment. No, I actually believe that was it. So, like I said, not too many changes. I do still need to go through and potentially change around a couple more pages and passives because there is a couple things that I think we could do a little bit better on overall, but for the most part, every other floor is the exact same thing. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.